Good morning, students. This is the last part of the lesson. In this video, we are going to study in detail about the parts of a leaf and parts of a flowers. So, first of all, we will see the leaves. Leaves are responsible for carrying out the process of photosynthesis. That means the process by which plants make their food. Leaves are of different shape and different sizes. So first we will discuss about the parts of a leaf. So first part is the lamina. The flat broad part of a leaf is called the lamina. And different types of plants have differently shaped laminas. This lamina receives sunlight which is used during photosynthesis. And here you can see in the picture this broad flat green part of a leaf is called lamina. Okay, and this lamina is attached to the stem with the help of stalk called petiole. So this is the stem and this lamina is attached to the stem is called petiole. Okay, so the part of a leaf by which it is attached to the stem is called petiole. Okay, now if you observe the leaves closely, we will see some lines running through them. Okay, now you can see in this picture the small lines present on a leaf are called its veins. So these are the veins. Small lines which are present on leaf is called its veins. And a thick vein in the middle of the leaf is called midrib. Okay, so this thick line or thick vein which is present middle of the leaf is called midrib. These veins are responsible for the transfer of water and minerals in the leaves. Veins are arranged in a specific pattern on a leaf, and this arrangement of veins on a leaf is called venation. Okay. Again, you can see the parts of a leaf. In this picture, you can see the four parts of a leaf. So first one is the lamina. The flat broad green part of a leaf is called lamina. Then the lamina is attached to the stem with the help of stalk called petiole. After that, there are small lines which is present on a leaf is called veins, and there is one thick vein or thick line which is present in the center or the middle of the leaf is called midrib. So these are the four parts of a leaf. Now you have understood the different parts of leaf. Okay, now we will see the venation. There are pattern of veins on the leaf is called venation, and this venation are of two type, reticulate venation and parallel venation. So let's see the types of venation. First one is a reticulate venation. On the leaf, the veins made net-like design on both the sides of midrib. Then the venation is called reticulate venation. Can you see in this picture? This is the reticulate type of venation. The design is like uh, or the design is form a net-like structure. Okay, as you see here, this is the leaf and they form a net-like structure. Okay, so this is called the reticulate type of venation. Okay, again this is the reticulate type of venation, and it found in rose, peepal tree, mango tree, hibiscus, etc. Okay, now second one is the parallel venation. if the design made by veins is parallel to one another in a leaf, it's called parallel venation. Now this is the parallel type of venation, and this venation is sometime horizontally parallel or the vertically parallel. You can again I will again draw the structure of parallel venation. Now this is the leaf. If the lines are or the veins are vertically parallel, then they are called a vertically parallel venation, or you can say just parallel venation. It is sometimes there is a vertical parallel venation, or sometimes there is a horizontally parallel venation. Okay, now you can see this venation. This is a vertical lines. Now again I draw another leaf having the horizontally parallel venation. Okay, and this parallel venation are found in grass, wheat, maize, banana, etc. Okay, are you getting this two type of venation? Reticulate venation, they form a neck like design, and in parallel venation they are parallel to one another. The lines or the veins are parallel to one another. Okay, again we have already studied in previous video that if the leaf showing reticulate type of venation, then the root system, the plant having the tap root system. Okay, and if the leaf showing parallel venation, then the plant having fibrous root system. Are you remember this? Okay, so parallel venation having fibrous root and reticulate venation having tap root. Okay, now we will see the next. Again in this picture, this is the parallel venation, and this one is the reticulate venation. Okay, now see the next. Now there are two important functions of leaf. First one is the photosynthesis and second one is the transpiration. Now in photosynthesis, green leaves make plants food. They prepare their food by the process of photosynthesis using carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight, as you know this. Okay, then transpiration, in the leaves give out excess water in the form of vapor through the process of transpiration. We will study about photosynthesis and transpiration in detail now. Okay, so first we will see the photosynthesis. Plants prepare food by the process of photosynthesis, and photosynthesis is occur in leaves of the plant. Okay, so leaves absorb the carbon dioxide from the air. Okay, so first leaves absorb carbon dioxide from air, and then water and minerals from soil. Okay, first they absorb the carbon dioxide from air, and then water and minerals from the soil. Okay, with the help of or in the presence of sunlight. Okay, and with the help of chlorophyll pigment which is present in leaves. Okay, so the leaf produces carbohydrate in the form of glucose, and they releases the oxygen. Okay, so again you have to remember this equation. First, leaves absorbs the carbon dioxide from the air, then water and minerals from the soil, and in the presence of sunlight with the help of chlorophyll which is present in the leaves, and then leaves produces carbohydrate or glucose and releases the oxygen. Okay, so this is the process of photosynthesis. Okay, you have to remember this equation also. This is very important equation. Then On the surface of leaves there are very tiny or very small pores or tiny opening. They are called as stomata. This stomata helps leaves to absorb carbon dioxide from air. You can see in this picture. So the leaves having small opening or tiny pores which is present on the leaf, okay, and they absorb the carbon dioxide from air, okay, and releases oxygen into the air. Okay, so first they absorb carbon dioxide and release the oxygen into the air. Basically stomata, it helps in gaseous exchange. Okay, so with the help of some experiment we will now try to prove that leaves carry out photosynthesis and prepare their food, that means carbohydrate or starch. So we have to studied already we have studied in chapter 2 to test the presence of starch or carbohydrate. For that we perform the iodine test. So here we will also perform the iodine test for our leaf. But before that we will now or before that we will know that our leaf are green in color, okay, and if we will put the iodine solution over it, we cannot clearly observe the color change, okay, because it is already having the color. So first we will turn our leaf into colorless. So for that you have to take the leaf and put this leaf into the test tube, and then you put the alcohol over it. After that you have to put the test tube in a beaker which is half filled with water. Okay, then heat the beaker till all green color from the leaves come out in the alcohol in the test tube. Okay, so now your leaf is colorless. You can clearly observe the color change. Then take the leaf and wash with water. After that, put this leaf into a plate and pour some iodine solution over it. You will observe that the leaf color has changed to blue black, which indicates the presence of starch in the leaves. Okay, so now we have proved that leaves contain starch or carbohydrate. Okay, are you getting this experiment? Now we will try to prove that leaves also carry out photosynthesis, because this experiment proves leaf contain the starch, but it doesn't prove that the starch will prepare by leaf. Starch will prepare by only leaves. So now we will try to prove that it is only the leaves who perform photosynthesis or prepare the carbohydrate. Okay, so for that you have to take a plant and then you keep this plant in a dark room for 2 days, so that all the starch which is present in the leaf, they get consumed or they get utilized. Okay, after that cover a part of a leaf with black paper and keep the plant in sunlight. Then you will perform the iodine test. Okay, on after that you will notice the part of the leaf which was covered by the black paper remains green by the iodine test. Okay, and the other part which was not covered by the black paper turn into blue black. What does this mean? This means that in the presence of sunlight, the leaf which will not covered, they carry out photosynthesis. Okay, and they synthesize the or they produces the starch. So this proves that leaves carry out photosynthesis in presence of sunlight. Okay? Okay. Now we will study about another important function of leaf, that is transpiration. Okay, so we know that roots absorb water and minerals from soil. As we know that the roots absorb water and minerals from soil, some of the water is utilized in the process of photosynthesis, and some water or excess water they transpire by the leaves in the form of water vapor, and this process is called as transpiration. So we will now try to prove leaves do transpiration, or they perform the process of transpiration. So again you have to see one experiment. Okay, now here take a well watered plant, then remove all the leaves of one twig of this plant. Okay, and cover this twig with polythene bag. After that, cover cover another twig which having the leaves, and again it is covered with the polythene bag. Okay, then leave the plant in sunlight for an hour, and then after an hour you have to observe. After 1 hour, you will notice drops of water will appear on the inner side of the bag that covered the leafy twig, but there will be no water drops on the inner side of the bag with the twig without leaves. So this shows the leaves do transpiration. Leaves release the excess water in the form of vapor to the air. So this proves that leaves perform transpiration, or they do the transpiration. Okay, now next one is the modification of leaves. Like other parts of plant, leaves also modify to perform some special functions. So in some plants, for example cactus leaves are modified into spines. This is the cactus leaf which is modified into spine. This reduces the surface area of leaves and minimizes loss of water due to transpiration. So this also this leaves uh, help in the minimizing the water loss due to the transpiration. Okay, and this leaves also acts as a defense mechanism of plants to prevent animals from eating them. Okay, so this is the modification of cactus leaves. Okay, then second one is the insectivorous plant such as pitcher plant. So the leaf of this pitcher plant is modified to form a pitcher for capturing insect. Okay, so insectivorous, it is also called as an insectivorous plant which grows in region where the soil is deficient in nitrogen. There is a deficiency of nitrogen in the soil. To make up for this deficiency, they have developed various methods of trapping insects. So they form a pitcher and feeding on them for nitrogen. These plants, however, can also prepare their own food through the photosynthesis. Okay, so this is the pitcher plant. And one more example, the some plants, uh, the tip of the leaves is modified into tendrils to provide extra support to the plant. For example, garden pea and the gloriosa. Okay, so this is about the parts of a leaf, then functions of a leaf, and modification of leaves. Okay, now next we will see in detail about the parts of flower. A flower is the reproductive part of the plant. Okay, it is usually the most attractive part of the plant. A flower may have fragrance, and flowers produces seeds that can germinate to produce a new plant of the same kind, and we call it as a fertilization. Okay, flowers develops from a bud, and it usually live for a short time and then develop into the fruit. Fruits bear the seeds which when planted in the soil can grow into a new plants. Okay, so this is about the flowers. Now we can see the different parts of a flower. A flower is made up of different parts such as petals, sepals, pistil and stamen. Pistil is the female reproductive part of the flower and stamen is the male reproductive part of the flower. So first we will see the petals. Petals are colored part of flower called as a flower petals. Okay, now you can see here the colored, brightly colored part of the flower. Okay, which having the different colors or the shades called as a petals. Okay, second one is the sepals. Sepals are small leaf like structure which is green in generally green in color, and the outermost green color or the outermost green color part which enclose the bud. Okay, so sepals are the outermost layer of flower. They protect the flower in the bud stage. Okay, then they are usually green in color. Okay, this is about the sepals. Next, again you can see here in the flower there is a, this is the pistil and this one is the stamen. So as I told you, so stamen is the male reproductive part of the flower. So these are the stamens, and this one is the pistil which is the female reproductive part of the flower. So first we will see the male reproductive part, that is stamen. It the pollen producing, it is also called as the pollen producing part of flower. Okay, and the stamen consists of two parts called as anther and the filament. So here as you can see in the picture, the male reproductive part of the flower called stamen, the upper flat part of stamen is called anther. So this upper portion of the stamen is called anther, and long stalk is called the filament. This is the filament and this one is the lobe like structure called anther. Okay, and stalk called as a filament. At the center of the flower there is a female reproductive part called as pistil. Okay, so again it is in the shape of flowers. Okay, now you can see here, this is the female reproductive part called as pistil. It is shape of a flask. The lower swollen portion is called ovary. Flask, like this, as you know na, flask. This is the flask. So here this swollen portion is called ovary. Okay, and the tube like middle part is called the style. This middle portion, the tube like structure, is called style. Then the uppermost part is called the stigma, and this portion is called stigma. Inside the ovary there are bead like structure like this. So here you can see bead like structure called as ovules. So here inside the ovary there is a presence of ovules. In some plants, when the flowers mature, the ovary transforms into fruits and the ovules become seeds. Okay. Then stalk of a flower is called pedicel. You can now here this stalk of the flower is called pedicel. Okay. It is the part of the flower at which it is attached to a stem, and in leaf they are called petiole, and in the flower when it is attached to the stem it is called pedicel. Okay. The swollen portion at the base of the flower is known as thalamus. The green color portion. Okay. The swollen portion is called as thalamus. It is that part at which all the floral parts are attached together. So here all the petals, sepals, stigmas, stamen, pistil, they are attached to the they are attached together on this floral part, on this floral swollen surface. Okay, so that is the thalamus. Now again you can see this parts of a flower. First, the green color sepal, green part, the outermost layer of the flower is called the sepals, which is in green color. Okay, and inside the sepals there are brightly colored modified leaves called as petals. Okay, the modified leaves, they are called as a petals. Okay, after that there is a male reproductive parts are present and the female reproductive parts are present. First there is a male reproductive part called as stamen. So stamen consists of the lobe portion is called the anther. The stalk of the stamen is called filament. So stamen generally consists of two parts, anther and the filament. And the female part of the flower called as pistil. Okay, so pistil consists of stigma. Uppermost part of the pistil is called stigma. Then tube like structure is called the style, and the swollen portion is called the ovary. Ovary having the bead like structure called ovule, and inside the anther in male reproductive part there is a presence of pollen grains. Okay, so this is about the parts of a flower. Here you can see the pollen grains. Now next one is the pollination. First, what do you mean by pollination? Pollination is the transfer of pollen grains which is present in the anther. Okay, from anther, transfer of pollen grain from anther to the stigma of female reproductive part, that they are called as a pollination. Okay, when the pollen grain reach the stigma of the same flower or another flower of the same plant, it is called self pollination. Now again, pollination are of two types: self pollination and cross pollination. First is the self pollination, when the pollen grains reach the stigma of the same flower or another flower of the same plant. Okay, if this it become same flower or the same flower of the or another flower of the same plant is called the self pollination. You can see this definition in textbook page number 128, so you can understood clearly. Okay, and when the pollen grain reach the stigma of a flower on another plant, it is called cross pollination. Okay, pollen grain, in both the cases pollen grain transfer to the stigma. Okay, but in self pollination, what happen, the pollen grain transfer to the stigma of the same flower or another flower of the same plant. That is a self pollination. And in cross pollination, what happen, pollen grains reach to the stigma of a flower but on another plant. Okay, that is called the cross pollination. Pollination is often facilitated by agents such as an insect, birds, wind, and water. Okay, so this pollination is often is happen by the different kinds of agents such as insect can carry the pollen grains from flower to another flower or the same flower of the plant. Okay, or another flower of the plant. Then birds also carry the pollen grains, wind also carry the pollen grain, water also. So these are the responsible factor or responsible agents of the pollination. Okay, then to attract pollinators such as insect, birds, flowers may be brightly colored and have specific fragrance, so that insect or birds can attract toward the flowers and they carry out the pollen grains and reach to the stigma. Okay, so this is about the pollination. So in this video we have completed the parts of a leaf and parts of a flower. So here we have completed our lesson, that is the plant world. Okay, thank you.